Check it out. So, about the convos. As a music producer and a songwriter, I have a few pieces of evidence of accomplishments on the wall. And yes, as you might have guessed, the placement is totally intentional. I make sure that the plaques are in my main shot as much as possible, especially when live streaming and doing interviews. Here's my girl, Jill Scott, Jilly from Philly. She gets the Sigma 30mm shot, and so does my boy Music Soul Child. Now, Will Smith and Floetry are featured in the fly on the wall shot. Yes, that's the terminology that I have. It's called fly on the wall shot, and I'll talk about that just a little bit later. Next, there's a little wooden personality in the room, and that's my headphone holders. These two wooden heads, they hold my DT 770s Pro and the Sennheiser 660 SS's. These are my production and mixing headphones. Now, sidebar, some may or may not remember the popular game Dead Island, but this is a special collector's item that I turned into a junction box for the headphones. Yes, it's a Walking Dead type lunchbox survival kit. Next, we have a Keith Pelzer Carpenter-like Jesus fuse box cover. I guess it's the Jesus in me that did this. And yes, it's a wonderful piece. And this wonderful piece of art is actually a cover for the fuse box. I'm not a true builder, but I am a handyman to an extent. And with a few pieces of wood and a broken lamp, I was able to make something great. Some copper piping, did it all. A vintage hue light and the copper pipe put together with a little extension cord and some words of inspiration. It works great in every shot for some backdrop. Now, speaking of lighting, the Godox Lc 500R lights are the bomb. The RGBs. Besides the Philip Hue lights, these Godox stick lights are my go-to lights for mood and a variety of controlled color settings and intentional backlighting. You can put them anywhere, your family can play with them, and you can do other crazy, stupid things with it, even just simple lighting. Now, when I'm not in the headphones, over here on this desk behind it, I trust the sound of my almost 20-year-old Event 2020 speakers. Every successful song I've done was created banging the track through these speakers. There's some other ones, but these are the main ones. But then there's the microphone, this thing here. And what can I say? It shines its own light on itself. It's the Townsend Labs Sphere i22 mic. It's more than just a mic though. It accurately models my favorite mics, such as the famous U87 Neumann mic, the U47 can of the Neumann, the C414s, and the SM7B people. And many more vintage mics. It's a mic miler, but it's great. Now, I keep it simple with the Apollo Twin X by Universal Audio. The Sony a6600, that has the Sigma 16mm lens on it, but I keep it on its toes. So my choice of movement is the Edelkrone Slider 2. A little back and forth movement for my streaming to give that TV and movie look and feel while I'm doing my show. I set it and forget it. So it's moving. So as I'm talking, as I'm presenting, it gives motion. It pulls you in the scene a little bit more rather than just the still shot in front of you. It gives a little bit of action to what you're doing. So as most know, I like the teleprompter confidence monitor thing. So I have the TMP 100 by Glide Gear with the Sony a6100 mounted with the 30mm lens. And yes, I said 30mm lens, not the 16. Many will tell you to get the 16mm lens, but it all depends on your space. Choose wisely. Now, this is the fly on the wall camera. It's a low-cost Sony a5100 camera that was made years ago. And it's the secret to affording multiple shots that are as clean as the expensive rigs that you have in your setup. The A5100 is mounted on the rails of a failed slider made by, I'm not going to say the name. That's the slider right there. So that's the slider, and there's a little latency on the camera because that's the phone camera, but the slider here is rolling. Licio, what's going on? So just wanted to, so Licio, my slider actually is acting up, and so it won't use the battery anymore. I had a slider made by a certain company, and I got it because it was cheap. But like my boy said, my boy Alicio Way, check his YouTube out, as he said,
you know why you don't buy cheap toilet paper? And then he was like, why? Like, because you're gonna end up with some on your hands, right? So he wasn't talking about toilet paper. He was talking about just when you buy stuff cheap, you're gonna end up with some.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. The motor burnt out on that thing, and I ended up not being able to use it, and I couldn't get a refund. So it was just, I wasted my money. So I invested in the Edelkrone sliders. And so, but the old slider, I repurposed the carbon rails, and now it's basically a sexy stand for the A5100. See? My building skills. And there's another one in here, hiding behind the hair light, or what I call the shower me light. We have another A5100, a white one, that is simply used for, but not limited to, overhead desk shots. Now, it's very good because you can change different lenses on it. And I know a lot of people will say, I can use my phone, I can use a GoPro, got it. But if you take a cheap Sony camera and you put it up there, you can put your nice bougie lens on it and get some crisp and zoomed in, not cropped out of your software shots on your overhead. And here we are, a shot of the desk from the overhead cam. Now, I'm known for the multiple different glasses I wear for live streaming. We have Alexa in the body of the Echo 5. We have our Stream Deck XL as well. We have our Ding Bell. We have a wooden stand for the iPad. Now, here's something I do to add a second slider. Yeah, come on, y'all. I do have more than one slider. There's a red bow, and that red bow on the wooden gift box is actually a cover to hide the connection for my second Edelkrone slider, which holds my baby, the Sony A7C. On this baby, I have the Sigma 24 to 70mm lens, and it's a beauty. So I use that on the desk on the slider, and sometimes when I'm doing interviews. But then when I'm done, to keep the desk neat, I remove the cord from the slider, disconnect the camera, remove the slider and camera, then I hide the cords and gift wrap them and put them all back to a neat desk. Here's my basic light setup from another angle. It's a tight, but it's a right place for me. It's all housed on the studio desk by output. It nicely hides my keyboard when I'm not songwriting, and it also has a matching sidecar to it.